What if I told you there was a piece of equipment that could improve your stance, your footwork, your balance, your countering ability, your leg strength? It takes up almost no space, it's cheap, and you probably already have it in your gym bag. That's the slip rope, and today we're gonna talk about how best to use it so that you can improve your skills and succeed when you fight. The slip rope is one of the best pieces of solo training equipment because in the absence of a coach, it gives you feedback on your technique. It lets you know if you're two-bladed, it lets you know if you're off balance, it lets you know if your path when you move your head is incorrect. And with all of those things combined, it's gonna make you better at boxing, better at countering, better at holding your ground, and better at taking ground with conviction, as long as you understand the success and the failure parameters of this new piece of equipment. Just like I said in my intro, you don't need any special equipment to use a slip rope. I usually use a hand wrap. So you can see right here, I've got my hand wrap strung up at approximately chin level when I'm in my boxing stance. I also have taken the time to lay down a little tape line on the floor. The same way that we use a line to set our feet when we're in stance, we're gonna use this line to guide our footwork and ensure we maintain a good stance as we travel up and down the rope. So to use this piece of equipment correctly, you have to know the fail parameters. The first fail parameter is that this rope should never be inside of your guard. If it's inside of your guard, it means you're making a U shape or a D shape instead of a proper circle, and it's indicative of you not using your mechanics to load your body to counter. The whole reason we roll is to load our body to counter, otherwise we just duck, so this is paramount. Our next fail parameter is you're not allowed to step on the line on the floor. There's a reason we laid that down, and it's to keep you in the appropriate stance. It shouldn't matter if I'm rolling left or rolling right. If a person's in front of me and I'm trying to get to them or get away from them, my feet need to make a straight line, which means I'm not doing a little two-step side to side, I'm going at my opponent. As we do these drills, our next fail parameter is taking extra steps. The only time you should be stepping is when it's part of the choreography of the drill. If when you punch, you can't help yourself but step, if when you roll, you can't help yourself but step, that means that your stance is no good, and the rope is pointing that out to you. Extra steps mean waste, and it means your balance isn't where it should be, so adjust your stance accordingly so that you can accomplish all of your techniques on the ropes in a strong position. The final thing I need to be paying attention to during all of the drills on the slip rope is that I am starting and finishing in the same standardized stance that I am used to drilling and practicing all of my techniques out of. It's really important to remember that from my basic outside guard, I'm very defensible. But a little twist like this leaves me too square, and a little twist like this leaves me too bladed. And because of that, when I roll, I need to make sure that I start here and I finish here. One of the biggest sins on the slip rope are people making a U shape where they're not finishing their roll. They're doing 75% of their roll. They start here and they pop up here, leaving themselves square and vulnerable. If there's one thing I hear from my athletes a lot when they start sparring, they tell me, they say, Coach Bam, when somebody's throwing single punches at me, my defense is perfect. I'm like Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather put together, but I really struggle with combination punching. And I have to tell these young folks that the reason you struggle with combination punching is because you're not finishing your defenses. You start here, and then you're already vulnerable for the next punch. The same thing happens when people slip. They start here, they don't slip and return, they slip and hang out. And they leave themselves in a compromised stance where their opponent can attack them, and they don't have reps practicing their defensive techniques. Don't let this be you. Like and subscribe if you've learned something that'll help you when you fight. So, Once I've stepped onto the rope and I've familiarized myself with my starting position, I make sure that I'm not shying away from the rope. I'm owning that space. Remember, you're in that same standardized stance and position, whether the rope is on your left side or the right side. Don't shy away from it. Own that space, push into the rope. So with all that being said, our very first drill on the slip rope is the jab sandwich. Now it's called the jab sandwich because the jab sandwiches every other technique in this drill. The pattern you're going to follow is going to be jab, roll, jab, step. Jab, roll, jab, step. It's 4 beats. But it's going to take you 8 beats to get back to where you started on the same side of the rope that you began. Take your time with this, make sure you've got no extra steps, and make sure that rope doesn't sneak inside of your guard. When you've mastered the jab sandwich forward, now the next step is to work it backwards. Again, you need to be able to defend from your left side, from your right side, whether you're moving in or you're moving out. One of the worst habits that little pressure fighters get into is they're trying to get to somebody and they get stuck in this little 2-step, side to side, as they defend left and right, and they struggle to meet their opponent, to close that distance. This will help you address that problem. Once you've mastered the jab sandwich, that's good, I'm proud of you, but the bad news is that's the easy one. And that should have gotten you primed for our next and more challenging, more intermediate drill, which is our rolling drop step. We all know how to drop step. I am traveling, I step as I change levels, I rise back to my stance as I bring my trailing foot up. The rolling drop step is just like this. Whether I'm going straight forward or straight backwards, I need to be able to step and hit the first half of the roll and then drive off my back foot and return to my stance, finishing the roll. Important things to keep in mind with the rolling drop step: you are doing everything you can to keep your weight 50-50, to keep your weight even, again, where you have access to all of your techniques and tactics. So with that being said, my step should be small, my head should be moving in a tight circle, I should be bending my knees and squatting, not hinging at my hips or my waist, and I really want to make sure that this rotation, this roll, is accomplished in my hips, not in my head and not in my back, in my hips. New boxers, you can watch as they spar. They shift gears. Now they're moving. Now they're defending. Now they're punching. You're never going to make any headway. You're never going to be a good boxer if you can only do one of those things at a time. To be a good boxer, you need to be able to move while defending. And to be a great boxer, you need to be able to move while defending and threatening with offense. And that's where we are with the rolling drop step. It's time to introduce our offense and introduce our hooks. No matter which side I'm rolling to, my hook should be landing as my trailing foot steps into position. That's the timing I'm trying to adhere to here. When I'm rolling in line with my feet, for example, going forward and rolling to my left, my foot's already down and it's going to be easy to drive off of that left foot into my 3. Now, when I'm rolling against the line of my feet, for example, when I'm going forward and rolling to my right, I'm going to have to depend on structure, on contact to make this shot land with authority. Most fighters are naturally pretty good at this going forward because you're moving with your momentum. This becomes very challenging throwing the 3 as I'm doing my rolling drop step and hook moving backwards. But if you practice it, even isolate out that foot movement, you can end up mastering this and being able to use it under duress when your composure is being tested. Our final note on the rolling drop step is to make sure that you're treating that rope as if it is an opponent's offense. Not only are you rolling around it initially, but you're coming back to meet it. Again, you don't want to let this rope inside of your guard, so make sure that you're breaking ground in with a nice high glove as you throw that hook from either side. Our first piece of offense with the rolling drop step is going to be that delay counter, that hook at the end of the roll. But for any folks who have been paying attention to the channel for a while, and certainly any folks who have been practicing, you know that this isn't the end of how you counter off of a level change. We have our delay counter, yes, but we also have our Duran, we have our Dempsey, and we have our drag shot. So once you can do the rolling drop step with that delay counter, you should practice the other 3 counters as well. And when you've succeeded at that, you should expand this out and make it even more challenging. Think about combination punching off of these. A Duran into a delay is excellent, and the drag shot into the delay is probably one of the best combinations and counters you can throw as a short pressure fighter. Look at Rocky Marciano, look at Mike Tyson, look at Jack Dempsey, look at Joe Frazier to see this in action and be like them. To bring this all together, you don't need any fancy equipment to improve your boxing, but you do need good knowledge. You need to be educated. Even something as simple as a hand wrap can help improve your skill if you know how to use it. So today, we talked about your fail parameters, we talked about the jab sandwich, we talked about the rolling drop step, and we also talked about countering off of that rolling drop step, as well as all of the pitfalls and successes that you're training here to implement into your game. I hope you folks learned something. If you got any questions or you have a piece of equipment that you'd like me to make a video on, let me know in the comments section down below, and I hope that you folks succeed. I hope that you work hard when you fight. Because I'm part Bigfoot on my dad's side, so it's not the camera. I'm actually just a little blurry.